What's going on, everyone? So the San Antonio Spurs got the bounce back win after two straight losses against the Houston Rockets. And this is great, right? I mean, that was a very controlled, very demanding type of win. In my opinion, this team just has a bunch of scrappers and just hustle guys. I mean, even the Laker game, they probably should have won that Laker game, but nonetheless, take the L. How do you respond? Now, I've talked about, right? Spurs started 5-0. Greatest start in franchise history, which is crazy considering some of the teams that the Spurs have had and some of the high win totals that some of the Spurs teams have had. But you have a 5-0 start, you're feeling good, right? You know eventually you're going to take a loss, whether it's game 6, game 16, or game 60, right? At some point, you're going to lose a game, right? How do you respond to the losses? And I talked about, right? Not saying that if they lose back-to-back games, right? Like that's the end of the world, sky is falling, Chicken Little type thing, but you don't want to start going down that rabbit hole. You'll see teams start off really well, and then that snowball effect starts happening. They start piling on losses, right? And all of a sudden now they're 5-5. It's like they just lost 5 straight, right? Talked about the good teams bounce back. Even the best teams in the league take losses. It happens, even back-to-back losses at times, right? They're usually fewer and far between. But, this is a young team that's going through the process, that's trying to grow and develop as a team. You're missing several guys, right? 2 of your better offensive players in De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper, right? You need to kind of stop the bleeding, so to speak, right? You take your first L again, no big deal. It happens. You go in that Laker game, and a game that you, again, probably should have won. Felt like a game that the Lakers kind of stole from you. But again, young team, it happens. To me, talked about it after the game. That felt like, a perfect example of experience versus inexperience. Right? You had an inexperienced Spurs team that lost to the experience that is the Lakers. The Lakers kind of made the key plays and knew what it took at the end, kind of walk away with that W. Spurs kind of, made some mistakes, had some flaws, right? Missed free throws, things like that. So, Julian Champagnie, stuff like that. But, again, you take a bad loss. So now you've lost 2 straight, and you're going in and playing a Houston team that is on a 5-game win streak and might be the best or one of the best teams matchup-wise to face you. And slow down Victor Wembanyama, who, wasn't playing great for the, last few games and stuff. And it's like, okay, how are you going to respond? You're at home, right? You kind of slip in a little bit, and they went out and completely controlled and dominated that game. And that's what you want to see. I mean, they won every quarter except for the first. They lost it by 2, 25-23, but then 28-25, 35-32, and then 35-28. But you see the consistency, right? It's particularly in the second half. 35 in the third, 35 in the fourth. Continuing to be the offense. Put up another 121 points. Held Houston to 110. Now, Houston isn't, offensively has their struggles. But again, this is a team, like I said, that matches up so well against the Spurs and has the size, the length, and athleticism to try to bother Victor Wembanyama and put him in a tough spot. And you saw that at times. You saw Wemby, kind of get swarmed and having to deal with just that length and athleticism. I mean, you're talking about a team that's just filled with a bunch of guys that have 7+ wingspans and a bunch of 6'8", 6'9", hyper athletic wings. But again, I thought that this was a game that the Spurs really did a good job of controlling. Victor Wembanyama didn't have some unbelievable monster 50, 30, and 30 game, but I thought he had a good game, right? Shot 50% from the floor. Again, I like that he's not settling for threes this season in particular. One of the big kind of issues I had last season, and we saw progress, and I was like, this is not a good trend, was the three-point shooting. Him taking half of his attempts from three-point range. I like that he's really kind of, you see that he's become more physical. He's become more willing to take and absorb contact. He's able to kind of operate in that inside game. And he gave you just a solid game. 22 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. He was making plays out of the post. I mean, you had Stephon Castle with 13. He had almost tripled up 14, 6, and 13. Castle's just been amazing this season, period. But again, Wemby went up against a team that has a lot that can just bother you. And I thought he did a great job. 4 turnovers. Don't love that. Between him and Castle, you had a total of 9 turnovers. Definitely need to clean that up a little bit. But again, talk about a team that every time Wemby got the basketball, he was met with long, lengthy, athletic wings that were just swarming him, right? You got to be able to make that. Like that, I thought he made some nice plays out of the double teams, out of the traps, hitting some shots, learning, right? It's a process. Victor Wembanyama, one of the things, like watching the games and watching the tape and stuff and the film and stuff, right? Like you'll see a lot of times he'll get in these positions and, you have the cutter, you have somebody, off ball man that he needs to recognize quicker, right? And that'll come with time. That'll come with experience. As soon as he does that, I mean, good luck to the rest of the league, right? Because you see at times he'll kind of get it. It's just another thing he needs to learn. Again, he's young. It'll happen, right? It'll come with time. But get the ball. You saw it in the Lakers game. You saw it in the Phoenix game. Phoenix in particular. There was a couple just sequences where he had the ball. They came, had 2-3 guys around him. I think he had one where like Harrison Barnes was like right there. But by the time he threw the pass, it was too late. Like they were already back and like rotated, right? Where as soon as that guy commits, he needs to boom. As soon as that guy takes that step, here's the easy entry pass, right? Once he starts to learn to expand that, things will be a lot easier for him, right? He'll be able to get out of that. You won't be able to trap him the way that you are right now. You're seeing a lot of teams kind of follow the same blueprint, right? He gets the ball in a particular area, out on the elbow, right? Kind of swarm him, have that rotate guy kind of, guys pulled on a string type thing to where, and he needs to recognize, okay, the guy's taking that step. He's getting ready to commit. Let me dump it down before the string gets pulled and the other guy cuts over. Now you got easy baskets and stuff. Again, those kind of things that he'll learn. But in general, with the Spurs, I love that, they were able to get this bounce back. They were able to kind of right the ship because, again, like I said, you start spiraling. You lose to the Suns. It's like, tough loss. It happens. No worries. Okay, you lose to the Lakers. Like, okay, no problem. It happens. What's next? Oh, no, we just lost to the Spurs. It's like, or to the Rockets. It's like, and then now you play a Pelicans team. It's like, now you lose a Pelicans. It's like that snowball all of a sudden starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And all of a sudden you look up and you're, 6-4 or 5-5 or something like that. So I'm glad that they were able to stop the bleeding. Now they got a back-to-back against the New Orleans Pelicans. Break that down a little later. But again, great win. I love the way I felt like this was a very controlled, very dominant win. This is a team that, again, is only going to get better. They're only going to improve. De'Aaron Fox is expected to be back. All of these things are just very beneficial for a young Spurs team, right? You just got to kind of each game just get a little better. And then all of a sudden you're in the playoffs and you're a completely new team come, June, right? Or May, June, and get the right matchups, dominoes kind of fall your way. All of a sudden, who knows? You're in the conference finals, something like that. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. If you enjoy these types of videos, truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.